Alright guys, final review question. So my first step is to put the line down the middle. Now before I ignore one side and simplify it all the way, I notice there is a fraction. So I need to get rid of that. The way that the strategy I taught you is, if this is divided by 4, I'm going to multiply it by 4. So I'm going to multiply for whatever the denominator is so that I can cancel it out. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So times 4 over here. Okay? So here I only have 3 left over, the numerator, nothing happened to that, and whatever's inside the parentheses. On this side now, I have 2 times this expression times 4. So the easier thing to do, remember, it doesn't matter with multiplications, the order of multiplication. So like 3 times 4 is 12, the same thing as 4 times 3 is 12. So if you switch the numbers around, you still get the same answer when you're multiplying. So I'm going to choose to multiply these two whole numbers together before I multiply the expression in. You can also distribute and then multiply, which means you will be distributing 2 times. So this would be the easiest thing to do. 2 times 4 is 8, and then I still have the expression in the parentheses. Okay? So now I'm going to cover this side up, simplify it all the way, and then I'm going to simplify the other side. So now that I got rid of the fraction, I'm going to simplify this one all the way by distributing. Okay, so 3 times 24, 72, and 3 times negative 8b, negative 24b. Okay, positive times a negative is a negative. This is simplified all the way, so now I'm going to uncover that, cover this one up, and then do the same thing to this one. So 8 times 5b is going to be 40b, and 8 times 1 would be 8. Okay, now that I simplified both sides all the way, now I notice that there are b's on both sides. So I have to bring one together to another one. So I'm going to move this one over here. Okay, by doing the opposite. Remember that when I change teams, I either add or subtract to change teams. So here the opposite of minus 24 would be plus 24b, and that zeroes out. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. And I'm going to line it up where the b's are because they are like terms. Here I still have the 72 left over. Here I'm going to have 64b plus 8. Now we're at the party. Okay, the party means that you have 2 steps to do. The first step is to get rid of whatever's added or subtracted, and the second step is to divide. So here I'm going to get rid of that plus 8, right, to liberate the b. So b is alone at the end. Okay, like this. I'm going to do the opposite of plus 8, which is minus 8. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. So I still have 64b, and here I'm going to have 64. Okay, my last step to get rid of that coefficient, which is the 64. When they're together like this, the coefficient and the variable, or the number and the letter, that means they're being multiplied. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So if I divide by 64, I cancel that, and what I do to one side, I do to the other. So b equals 64 divided by 64, which means b equals 1. Okay, and that will be the answer to 13. Again, you can enter this in the calculator, the original problem, but instead of b, you plug in 1 and make sure that you get the same thing on both sides.